So, the Edmonton Oilers are in a bit of a pickle as they fall in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, and quite frankly, they were not good enough. They were, I think, pretty soundly outplayed by the Florida Panthers in Game 2 of this Stanley Cup Final. McDavid, I thought, was excellent. Hyman, I thought, was noticeable. The rest of the team kind of stunk. Darnell Nurse had a very good reason for not being noticeable as he barely played. Fogle had a reason for not being noticeable. He barely played because he need a guy. And we'll get to the officiating here in a second. But I just think right now this team needs more than McDavid. Like it is kind of similar, honestly, to what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics, where Luka Doncic is going out there and balling out, but he needs some help. And Boston's done a good job of taking away the help from Luka, much like I think Florida has done a good job of taking away the help from the Oilers. The McDavid is running wild, but Draisaitl hasn't been, and we've been harping on him for a little bit now. I don't think he's right. I think there is some kind of injury that is bothering him, but they have done a really good job of limiting the non-McDavid Oilers in the first two games of this series, and that has them up 2-0. I talked with Avery. By the way, if you want more thoughts on Edmonton against Florida, I was on Game Over Edmonton for the post-game show, so check that out. But yeah, I thought that this was a time where Edmonton now, I think, needs to make the move and put the McDryman line together. I think that they are basically a one-line team anyway, and Draisaitl I don't think is a guy who, at this point, given his health, or my presumed I guess update on his health. I don't think he's a guy that can carry a line, but he can be a real good number two, as we saw at times in the Vancouver series. When they load that up, it is very difficult to stop and puts Draisaitl in a much better position, obviously. So I think it is the time now to load that one up, get the most you can out of that, and hope that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Henrique can kind of carry their own lines going forward. I think you put that together because I feel like he's banged up, and you're not getting enough from him right now, so you may as well put him in the best complementary role that you can. On the blue line, they could be dealt a real big blow with Darnell Nurse. He tried to come back in this game a couple of times, had relative degrees of success in doing so, but I thought that he had certainly some limitations, obviously, physically. That they have the extra day off, that is going to help out immensely. I think if he can't go, that is a devastating blow to this blue line. I think it would be worse, obviously, if it was Bouchard or Ekholm right now. But for all the flack that Nurse has taken throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, he is one of the better defenders on this team. And when he is right, he is really, really strong. He has been, I think, saddled with an anchor for most of this postseason, and that has done him an incredible disservice. He's not a $9 million player. He just simply isn't. But he isn't the bad defenseman that a lot of people are making him out to be. And if you lose that from the lineup, you basically have two defensemen you trust. And going up against a deep team like the Florida Panthers is a problem. And it probably means more Cody Ceci than you would be comfortable with, even if you hadn't just healthy scratched him. It would be a big concern. Another concern on that blue line, Bouchard had a tough game. Overall, he played okay, but he got beat on 2 goals. And when you've only scored 1, that becomes a problem. It was just a flat giveaway to Rodriguez, who snipes it home to give the Florida Panthers the lead. And then he gets beat along the wall that ends up leading to the power play goal that the Panthers scored to finally break through. And he, overall, I think he had an okay game, but he just got beat in the biggest moments, and his offense wasn't able to make up for it. None of the Oilers' offense has been able to make up for it. They haven't scored 5-on-5 this series. The only goal that Ekholm is able to get in there is on a 4-on-4 rush that he kind of surprises Bobrovsky and snaps one home. So the Edmonton Oilers are in a real jam right now, and they need all the help that they can get. They are getting help from their goalie. I thought Skinner was really good in this game. I thought that he was hung out to dry on the 2 goals on 2 of the late goals that went in on him. But overall, I think that he had a very, very strong outing here for the Edmonton Oilers. On the Panthers side, I thought they played an excellent game. Aaron Ekblad that might have been the best game of his career. His use of the stick, his reading of the defensive zone, and his ability to make plays was at an all-time high. Like, that looked like a number one defenseman in the and a number one overall pick. That was just an exquisite hockey game that he played. And he and Forsling are such a good team, with Forsling's skating ability, Ekblad's awareness, and just all-around talent from both those guys. They did a hell of a job on Monday night in limiting the Edmonton Oilers, and specifically on the Oilers power play. I thought they did a great job with that. On the side of the offense, everyone was clicking. Like, Bennett was really dangerous in this game. And I just, a quick aside, obviously you see the Oilers jersey behind me. I have a Blue Jays hat and a Raptor picture in the background, but based in Calgary, I talked about Sam Bennett his entire career in Calgary. His draft in 2014 was the first time that I was really going with Sportsnet 960 out here, and was able to get on air a little bit. And he came in, and this is, to be fair, this is the Sam Bennett that everyone thought they were getting. Like, oh yeah, he's Doug Gilmour, basically. Which, when you say that in Calgary, he wasn't this in Calgary. He spent 0 seconds like this in Calgary. And it wasn't like, oh, well, they didn't give him opportunities. They gave him so many opportunities. Anytime he moved up, he broke through that ceiling of getting to the second or first line, he was dog shit. He was taking bad penalties. He was not contributing to plays. He was turning the puck over. He was a bad hockey player. So this guy, like, there was playoff Sam Bennett absolutely existed. This guy was not here for 82 consecutive games. He would show up every now and then. This guy did not pop up like that in Calgary. And so how could the Flames give him up? Because he sucked when he played here. And now you can certainly discredit some of the developmental things or whatever it was that they were not able to unlock this version of Sam Bennett. That criticize away. But that cat never showed up on this team. So I feel like some of the criticism on how could you possibly trade him is a little bit overdone right now. But he's been excellent. Diatribe aside, he's been phenomenal in this series, and Matthew Tkachuk has been really good as well. Barkov will see his availability. It sounds like it's leaning toward he'll be in for Thursday, but he gets popped in the mouth, and so that's a problem. So we will see what ends up coming from him. But overall, like, offensively, they were dynamite. The whole team, like, this was a really good game. Bobrovsky, again, was exceptional, although he was not tested a whole lot. The other part of this, the officiating. This was not a well-officiated hockey game. And, like, I don't have a major problem, pardon the pun, with Fogle getting the 5 in a game on the knee-on-knee. You can squint and see that could have been... I don't know, like, I don't think he went in there going, oh man, I really hate this guy's ACL. I'm going to try to take it out. But he didn't get out of the way in a way that you would think that he could have in that particular situation. So if you want to give him 5 in a game, fine. But then Bennett has to get a longer look than, that's probably 2. And then, again, to counter that, on the Edmonton side, that Draisaitl needs to get a look for coming in and throwing like a David Loiseau elbow at Sasha Barkov. Like, 2 of you got that reference. But this was a poorly officiated game. If it was a game management type of a thing, they lost complete control of it. If they were just trying to be fair and just call all the penalties, they lost control of it. They did a piss-poor job of officiating. Now, I said this on Game Over last night. I'm going to say it again. That is not the reason why the Edmonton Oilers lost this game. The Edmonton Oilers lost this game because they were the second best team on the ice. Not because the officiating crew was the third best team on the ice. That this was a poorly officiated game, but that did not cost the Edmonton Oilers in this particular game. But that absolutely has to get better moving forward. I think that we need, on the clearing the puck out of the zone thing, I think that the control center needs to be able to call that. We don't need a 10-minute video review. Lord knows we don't need more reviews in this sport. But just like hey, the officials are kind of talking, well, maybe that was, maybe that wasn't. Just like it's one video that you can see. And if they can't tell in the time that it takes for you to get everyone ready to drop the puck, then it's inconclusive and we just move on with our lives. But they missed that one there as well. But no, this was a horrendously officiated hockey game, and I think it really took away from what we saw in this game. And lastly, Charles Barkley is awesome. That's all I have to say about that. The whole interview was just chef's kiss, amazing, and we need more sports personalities like that. And any talk that inside the NBA and all those guys are going away, I think is over exaggerated. Maybe the show itself is going away, but the personality, like Charles Barkley, is going to end up on a broadcast somewhere. Amazon or NBC or ESPN are going to throw so much money at him. Same with Shaq, and I think same with Kenny as well. All those guys are going to have jobs. It's just a matter of where, I think, and what does it all look like, and who. The real concern is who gives them the freedom to be what Chuck was on Monday night out there in Florida.